What is up? What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, welcome to another live edition of Tournament Morning Updates. This is the time where I talk about everything that happened in the previous day when it came to tournaments. And yesterday, we saw some big games. We saw a big injury, and yeah, a lot to talk about. So let's first talk about the big injury that we saw. So yesterday, the finale game of the day was Texas versus LSU in the SEC semifinals. And in that game, we saw a slugfest. It was a slugfest throughout the entire one where it just felt like Texas literally could do nothing without Madison Booker. Madison Booker was a player who just absolutely dominated, guys. 25 points, especially in that first half. It was literally Madison Booker or bust. Now, if y'all don't know, Madison Booker did win the Player of the Year award. There was lots of talk about whether or not she actually deserved that award or if it should have went to Anissa Morrow. But in that first half, Madison Booker was like, yeah, I'm her. I'm her. Yeah, I am the Player of the Year for the SEC, and it is well deserved. And the reason why, the way you can tell that, is in the first half alone, Madison Booker had 18 points. Okay? 18 points. The rest of her team had 11. She was 7 of 9 in that first half. And her team was 3 of 18. Like, Texas overall as a whole, they were Madison Booker or bust. And in that first half, LSU was largely playing a man-to-man, and Madison Booker exploited it. And in the first half, we saw Texas kind of look really, really good, and LSU was kind of struggling. Yes, Anissa Morrow was scoring in that first half, but overall, they weren't necessarily, they weren't playing, they were trying their best, but like it felt like they were just trying to tread water. They scored the lowest first half points of their season. So like the previous game, they scored the most when they had like 100 plus in the entire game. And then in this game, they scored the lowest that they've ever have in the first half because of the really good defense of Texas, right? This was a defensive battle in a lot of ways. And in that first half, Madison Booker was exploiting it, and LSU was treading water. In the second half, we saw Anissa Morrow go down. Anissa Morrow went up, came down, and she was holding her foot. And it was very terrible to see, actually, because usually when someone is holding a body part, and then they have to fully get helped off the court, like both arms on someone else, no pressure. It makes you think, okay, this might be a season-ending thing. But turns out, thanks to Holly Rowe, she said that Anissa Morrow, when she came in the building, or Anissa Morrow has been wearing a boot before games, and she would take the boot off, play. Back in the boot. Turns out that she just flared up something that she's already been dealing with. According to Kim Mulkey, after the game, Anissa Morrow wanted to come back in, but the medical staff was saying, no, you staying out. But Kim did say that Anissa and Flau'jae, as previously planned, will be ready for the NCAA tournament. So Anissa Morrow did not finish out the game yesterday. And that's because the medical team was like, nah, girl, you ain't coming back in here. But she should be good to go for the NCAA tournament, which is good news for LSU fans. So now LSU has to finish the game without Anissa Morrow, their best player throughout the entire year, Flau'jae Johnson, and they did their thing. I'm gonna say this. We saw largely a zone in the second half for LSU. Smart. We saw, in my opinion, some really good defense by LSU, where they were like, "No, we zoning you. We zoning you." And Madison, you're not going to be as dominant in this half as you were in the first half. And she wasn't, right? She had 18 points in the first half, ended up finishing with 25 points. Like the rest of Texas was very, very inefficient, right? Like this was not a thing where there were dominant play on Texas's front. It wasn't, because it was really good defense. And then on LSU's part, you had an attempt to make some stuff happen, right? But ultimately, LSU lose the game. However, like, dog, when I was watching this game, I was like, man, you literally have, Miracle Shepherd, Jersey Wolfenbarger, Jada Richard, with Laster Poa and Samaya Smith getting a ton of minutes in this game. And you still barely lose? You only lose by 7 points? To be honest with you, if I am an LSU fan, I am very happy. Truly. I am very happy about this game. Because with 2 of your best players out, you barely lose. And players stepped up. Like Jada Richard, I thought she played some good minutes. I do. Last year, Poa, the way her and Kyla Odaker were battling against each other, it was great to see. The hustle, the fight, even though they lost. So, this is one of those things where, like, yeah, you lost the battle, but you may win the war because your team showed up. Talent-wise, the team that was left couldn't do that much, but they hustled. They tried their best, right? You know what I'm saying? If y'all could, make sure to hit that like button. That really does help the channel out a lot. Thank you so much, Kentucky Rick, for letting the folks know. But truly, like, this was not a bad game. Like, this was not a bad game at all, in my opinion, for LSU. This was a terrible game for Texas, though. Like, this was absolutely terrible for Texas. Like, Madison Booker, yes, did her thing. Everybody else, nah. I mean, Rory Harmon did have a good game. So, like, minus her. Everybody else, Shay Holly, you can't hit nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Kyla Odaker, girl, why are you letting Last Year Poa punk you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there were some offensive things that Texas was doing, and I was just like, what in the world? So for LSU, y'all should be happy. For Texas, dog, come on now. It's no way. It's no way. LSU's defense was good. However, it wasn't that good for your players to kind of forget how to play basketball. Like, come on. Like, seriously. I'm just saying. If it wasn't for Madison Booker, Texas would have got killed. They would have got killed. But this was a defensive slugfest. This was not the beautiful, pretty basketball that we like to see sometimes. But I like it. Give me a gritty win. Give me a game where teams do not score more than 60 points. I don't mind that. Now, every game, I don't want that. But every now and then, I don't mind a slugfest. And that's what yesterday's game was. It was an absolute slugfest. And ultimately, Texas did come out with the W. Now, next up, let's talk about the South Carolina Gamecocks, because South Carolina head to their 6th straight SEC championship. And what is it, a surprise? No, it's not. No, it's not. But in usual South Carolina fashion, it is the bench players that make everything shake. When you talk about South Carolina, their best offensive weapon, their best punch in the gut comes from their bench. And yesterday, can we talk about the bench? Yes, of course. Joyce Edwards, fire. Joyce Edwards was fantastic. as always, right? 21 points, 5 rebounds. She was knocking down shots left and right. She was doing her thing. And then you have Malaysia Fulwiley, who, once again, Energizer Bunny, highlight reel for days. And I just love it when Malaysia comes in the game. Like, she's just fire. Like, she just is like, she comes in off the bench and is like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna take over. Yeah, I got this. We about to do this. We about to do this. And they did do this. They did. Tulip, I agree with you on that one, though. Tulip says, Malaysia gives me Ja vibes, a lot of fun. Yes. Because, like, Ja is like one of those dudes that's just, you could tell dude is having fun. And that's, yeah, when Malaysia plays, I'm just like, man, this is just a girl who love to go to the park and hoop. Like, this is a girl who just, she lives and breathes this stuff, and she is just having fun. She plays free. And guys, I tell you, yeah, having Malaysia Fulwiley, who is a starter on every other team, in my opinion, she's a starter. But on South Carolina, she comes off the bench and she dominates. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So you got Edwards, you got Fulwiley. Tessa Johnson did her thing in this game as well. And I'm gonna tell you this: Miriam Dowda played some fantastic minutes, in my opinion. I enjoyed watching Dowda play yesterday, because I was like, okay, girl, you have not played that much during this year, because when you have come in the game, you have sometimes you have not showed up. But I thought she played some good minutes yesterday. And that is exactly what you need when that's exactly what you need when you go into the NCAA tournament, right? That's exactly what you need, because it's not all about the stat sheet, right? It's not. It's about Dowda's defense, right? I thought she played good defense yesterday. Yes. She's someone who, like, what was her stats? Let me hold on. Let me see her stats, because they weren't that impressive, right? Okay, 5 points, 1 assist, 3 rebounds. Not that impressive for Dowda, but it's not all about the stat sheet. It's about, like, the eye test. Like, and the eye test showed that Miriam Dowda was fantastic. Her 12 minutes were impactful. Her ability to play defense, her ability to cause turnovers was huge. And they need exactly that version of Miriam Dowda in the NCAA tournament. That's what they need, right? That's what they need. But again, basketball is a game of matchups. And this game yesterday was a great matchup for Miriam Dowda. And she showed up. She showed up, and I thought she played well. And, a lot of people, you're going to pay attention to the main scores. But, like, Dowda came in the game, and she played some good minutes. So, like, I got to give a shout out to her. I have to give a shout out. Okay. So now later today, we see South Carolina take on Texas. I think South Carolina easily is going to win that one, but we'll see. We will see. Farrell says in front of home. Yeah, because South Carolina, they are basically at home. They are basically at home, guys. That's something to note. Okay. All right. Now let's go to the other game that happened yesterday, and that was USC versus Michigan. This game was very close. And then the floodgates opened, and then it was over. So ultimately, we saw USC get the job done. I really like the fight that Michigan had in this game. Michigan stayed in it throughout that first half. They tried to stay at it in that third quarter, but then the fourth quarter was just a little bit too much. A little bit too much. Silas Swords, as always, she kind of does her thing. She was very, very inefficient. Very inefficient. But she scored points. 26 points for her. But the story of the game was Kiki Ira-Afen. Like, you couldn't stop her yesterday. You could not stop Kiki. 25 points, 11 rebounds. She showed up and showed out efficiently and made some stuff happen. Because, Juju wasn't really scoring initially, got in the swing of things, in the second half, but a really good game for Kiki. And then Juju comes in, ultimately she gets a double-double as well, 20 points, 11 rebounds. But here's the deal. When the regular season is happening, conference games are important. Conference games are extremely important. Why? Why are conference games important? Because of things like this. Michigan has played several games in a row at this point. Day after day after day after day. The reason why is because their record in the Big Ten was not that good. Right? And so you had to play more games. USC is a very, very rested team. You're tired. And that's understandable, which is why the regular season matters so much. Right? That's why it matters. Because if you have a really good record, you don't have to play as many games because you get the byes. USC and UCLA had a double bye. That's why they looked very rested. That's why, they were able to take down who they took down, right? Like, it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise at all. And every year this happens in every single conference, Michigan played on Thursday, they played on Friday, and then they played again on Saturday. USC only played on Friday, they played on Saturday, and they're going to play today. So, that's three games in a row, but, this is why it is so difficult to have Cinderella teams in conference tournaments. It's very difficult because if you're in the Big Ten and you're ranked number 12 in the conference, you literally played and you made it all the way to the championship game. That's Wednesday a game, Thursday a game, Friday a game, Saturday a game, and Sunday a game. That'd be five games in 5 days. That's why you don't see it often. Sometimes it can happen, but you don't see it very often because it's just how it is, But fantastic fight from Michigan. They gave it as much as they could. They did. They put it all out there on the line, but ultimately they were not able to get the dub. And for Ohio State, this is a team that they had the double bye. So they had the same amount of rest as UCLA. We saw Ohio State have a eek of a win against Iowa on Friday, and then on Saturday, y'all, Ohio State laid the hugest of eggs. I was just like, man, can y'all at least make this a game? But no, UCLA came out scoring 22 points to 8 in that first quarter, and it was over. It was absolutely over from there. It was just, it was kind of embarrassing. It's kind of embarrassing for you to go to the semifinals and then just get blown out the way that they did. London Jones, the reason why this was a blowout, because London Jones is back to knocking down her threes. If London Jones can consistently knock down threes, sky's the limit for UCLA. Because to me, that's the X factor. Because here's the deal. We already know that Lauren Betts is going to do her thing down low. We already know that she's going to get about a double-double every game. We know she's going to do that, right? But We know that, Hawkeye is probably going to get around 10 points. Kiki Rice around 10 points. Like, we know that. But London Jones is the X factor. If London Jones can get hot, if she could knock down 4+ threes, you're going to win the game, right? Yesterday, 6 threes, 22 points for London Jones. Like, yes. I have a little jingle. It's London Jones is draining threes. London Jones is draining threes, and there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, like, seriously, like, the only player who can stop London Jones is London Jones, in my opinion, because she is such a great 3-point shooter. And she's been on a skid of sorts, but she's back, it seems, and I'm excited to see it. Because a lights out London Jones is a hard team to go against. I'm gonna tell you that. Of course, yes, the best player is Lauren Betts, but however, the X factor, in my opinion, is London Jones. They will go as far as she can shoot. All right, next up we have Duke, who took down Notre Dame. Notre Dame got the upset yesterday, and Notre Dame was terrible. Like, Duke played their butt off, because Duke is not a team that's like, Duke is not a team that would dominate offensively in these matchups, right? But Notre Dame, yes, good defense by Duke. Absolutely. Really good defense by Duke, but Notre Dame beat themselves. This is a game that, yes, Duke, defensive-wise, their ability to knock down important threes when it mattered, yes, absolutely. That was important. However, the fact that Maddie Westbell couldn't hit nothing, the fact that Olivia Miles was inefficient, Hannah Hidalgo was inefficient, the fact that, it just felt like nobody was getting it going, the fact that Kassan Prosper had to play as many minutes as she did, like, it's just bad. It's just bad news bears for Notre Dame. And it's one of those things that, like, yes, they barely lost in this game. It's a similar score to the Texas and LSU game. And in the Texas and LSU game, I said that LSU fans should be happy about themselves because this was a really good game for LSU, even though they lost. Now, this game was a horrible game for Notre Dame. Absolutely horrible. Atrocious. And Niele Ivey, I don't know what you got to do. But you got to do something, because your team is not showing up. They're not showing up. Right? You got someone in your starting lineup. Her name is Leah King. Leah King last year played for Pitt. Right? She played for Pitt last year. Last year, she averaged 18 points a game. Right? Leah King, 18 points a game, 10 rebounds a game. Last year. Yesterday, Leah King, the big time transfer for Notre Dame, big time transfer. Like, this was huge. Leah King yesterday, 0. You can't have that. What? You cannot have that at all. It's part of why they lost. Like, I don't know what's going on with this team. They got to figure it out big time. But shout out to Kara Lawson. We are in the Kara Lawson era. And dog, if y'all are a fan of former players and giving them their flowers when they are absolutely doing their thing, you got to do it for Kara Lawson. I need to make a separate video about Kara Lawson, because the way this lady has turned around this squad, because Duke historically was really good, right? Back when we had Gail Guest, of course, as the head coach, like, Duke was fire. Gail Guest, of course, went to go to Texas for the bag, and then Duke was not very good, right? Not very good. They ended up getting Kara Lawson. as their head coach. I believe that was during COVID, I believe. And Duke played part of the season, and then they shut it down for the rest of the season. And the next year they were not very good, but defensively they were making some noise. And it was just sort of okay, well, Kara, what you gonna do with this team? What you gonna do? And she has paired defense with strategic offensive plays. And now we have Duke in the championship game. Come on now. Are we not excited about that? I love it. This is the first time Duke has been in the championship game since 2017. This is a team that is back. The Duke legacy is back. And it's courtesy of a Tennessee alum. I love to see it. I love to see it. I really do. This is one of those things where legacy and history is just so important. And Kara Lawson did her thing. Did her big one yesterday. Did her big one all season long. And has effectively destroyed any opportunity for Notre Dame to be a number 1 seed. It ain't happening. Maybe there was a little inkling of it possibly happening if they were able to win the ACC tournament, but it is over. It is over, okay? It is over. And, hey, man. I love to see it. I love to see it. Okay, next up, let's go over to the other ACC game, which was NC State taking care of business against North Carolina. Now, here's the deal. NC State is a team that just fights. And in yesterday's game, they, from beginning to end, they kind of had the game. Huge shout out to Isaiah James, who consistently is just showing that she is a scorer. Now, I don't believe Isaiah James is a shooter. She is a scorer. She is someone who give her the basketball and she will figure out something to do, and she will figure out a way to put the ball in the basket. That involves driving to the lane, trying to get some layups. That involves trying to hit some tough jumpers. That involves getting fouled a lot and making it to the free throw line. She is someone who's able to kind of really do her thing in this game. She does not shoot efficiently in this game. However, she knocks down the points when it absolutely matters. Isaiah James, y'all, she is doing everything she can to try to get in that first round of the WNBA draft, and I think she is successfully trying to do that. All right, next up we have, that's basically all I want to say about North Carolina. I didn't expect them to win this game. They lost. Not much to say about that front. All right, next up, let's go to Baylor versus OSU. Now, here's the thing. Oklahoma State, I had them winning this game. And throughout the game, I was like, okay, Oklahoma State's going to win. But the game, if y'all don't know, the game ended up going to overtime. And in that overtime, Baylor took over. It was like in overtime, it felt like the Cowgirls, which is Oklahoma State, it felt like they hit a wall. They hit a complete wall and fell apart in overtime. Ultimately, we saw Baylor get the dub. Aaronette Vonleh did her thing. Y'all, if y'all don't know Aaronette Vonleh, she played for Colorado last year. She was an excellent player for Colorado, but because Colorado left the Pac-12, surprise, surprise, a lot of transfers. So Aaronette was like, you know what? I need to go to another team. I need to go somewhere else. She decided to go to Baylor, and y'all, yesterday, I know some of y'all probably didn't even watch this game. I know some of y'all probably didn't even pay attention to this game, but Aaronette Vonleh put on an absolute show. Absolute offensive show. How much of a show? 37 points. 14 of 25 from the field. 9 rebounds, right? She went a perfect 9 of 9 from the free throw line, right? She dealt with some foul trouble, but like overall, she was absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. Okay? She was. And where were all her points? All in the paint. She didn't, I don't even think she did not one jumper in this entire game. It was all in the paint. All in the paint. That was all her scoring for Vonleh. She did her thing. Now let's continue to move on. Baylor moves on, and who in the world do Baylor face? Well, they face TCU, who took care of business against West Virginia. Now this was a game that, I thought that TCU would win, but I was like, okay, well, look out for West Virginia because JJ Kennerly can show up and show out. And yet yesterday JJ tried her best, right? But West Virginia just didn't have it in the cards. They didn't have it in the cards because for TCU, they had the dynamic trio of Haley Van Lith, 19 points, 8 rebounds. Sedona Prince, 18 points, 16 rebounds. 19 points, 8 assists for Haley Van Lith, 6 rebounds for her. Sedona had 18 points, 16 rebounds, I should say. And Madison Connor, who sometimes people be forgetting about her. She was knocking down threes left and right. Finished the game with 16 points in this one. When you got that, I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to take down TCU. I'm just saying, it's kind of hard to take down TCU. And ultimately, West Virginia, the Mountaineers, were not able to take down the Horned Frogs, and the Horned Frogs move on to face Baylor today in the championship game. And finally, I do want to talk about Yukon. Yukon did easily take down St. John's. Not really anything to write home about, but the thing to know about this game, the thing to know, and if y'all could hit that like button, that really does help the channel out a whole lot. The thing to know about this Yukon game is that Carolyn Ducharme, someone who was shut down last year due to these severe, she kept getting concussions and there was some stuff going on, and the medical staff at Yukon was like, okay, we shutting you down. They shut down Carolyn Ducharme last year, and there was a lot of question marks around could Carolyn ever come back to play college basketball? Could she? Could it happen? And yes it did. Yes it could, and it did. Here's the deal. Carolyn Ducharme has been back, I think, for a couple of games now. And now, yesterday, with her headband on to protect her head, she was able to score her first basket of the season. It was a nice handoff from Janet L. Alfie, and Carolyn Ducharme at the rim got her first basket, and her teammates were so excited. So excited. And guys, this was a cool moment. This was really a cool moment because it's this is a girl who has dealt with an injury that you literally can't see. Sometimes it's easier to for people to wrap their head around someone who tore the ACL or something like that, or it's some sort of physical injury that people can see. But with Carolyn Ducharme, it was all, the injury was in her head. And it's one of those things where it wasn't visible. And so sometimes it's hard for people to wrap their heads around it. And I love that she has been able to work her way back, that she is healthy, and that she was able to get her first points yesterday. I love it. I love it. So I wanted to talk about that because it's just, it was just the good vibes of the day. You know what I'm saying? Good vibes of the day. I know, some of y'all probably don't even know who Carolyn Ducharme is, but I love that she's back, that she was able to get the dub, not only get the dub against St. John's, but also she was able to score her first points with that headband secured. Yes. All right, guys, let's look at the schedule of of what happened yesterday. Again, as a reminder, LSU lost to Texas. This is not a get-got moment. So I saw some people saying LSU got. They did not. They did not. Texas won a game that they should have won, and they barely won it at that. So Texas should be a little bit disappointed in themselves. LSU, y'all should be very happy about y'all team. Like, seriously, very happy about y'all team. Anissa Morrow did go down during the game. X-rays looked at it. She's fine. The medical staff decided for her not to return to the game. However, Kim Mulkey said in the presser that her and Flau'jae Johnson will be back for the NCAA tournament. Nothing to worry about on that front. But yeah, it was a scary moment, but seems like she's going to be wearing a boot and she'll be fine. All right, we saw USC take care of business against Michigan. Yukon beat St. John's. UCLA take down Ohio State. South Carolina beats Oklahoma. Duke got the upset over Notre Dame. Now, this was an upset. Notre Dame had no business losing this game, and they lost. Yes, this is an upset. The LSU game, not an upset. That's not a get-got moment. This is a get-got moment. Yes, Notre Dame for sure got. That had no business losing that game. But Duke take care of business. Duke get the job done. Kara Lawson does her clipboard magic, and Duke gets the dub. NC State takes down North Carolina. TCU takes down West Virginia. Baylor knocks out Oklahoma. Creighton takes down Georgetown, and South Dakota State beats North Dakota. Now, let's get into the games that are happening today, because we have a full slate of games. We have Duke versus NC State for the ACC final. I got NC State winning that one. We have Yukon taking on Villanova in the Big East semis. Of course, Yukon's taking that one. We got Texas versus South Carolina in the SEC final. South Carolina is getting the dub. I don't see how they lose basically at home. I don't see how it happens. All right, we have Oral Roberts versus South Dakota State. I think South Dakota State easily takes that one. In the Summit League Championship, we have UCLA versus USC. Once again, for what would it be, the third time this year, I have USC taking down UCLA. But here's the thing. Have y'all noticed how hilarious it is for the two teams that just joined the Big Ten? They just joined. This is their first year, both UCLA and USC. Do y'all find it funny that in their first year, they made it to the Big Ten championship? It's crazy. It is literally crazy. And it just shows that, hey, the Big Ten has totally gotten owned by the California teams. Totally. All right, we got Baylor versus TCU in the Big Ten championship. I think TCU is going to get the dub on that one. And we have Seton Hall versus Creighton. And I don't know. Creighton should win, but Seton Hall, you never know. We gonna see. But yeah, anyway, that's that. Carl says Big Ten has been hijacked. Hey, football money is important. Football money is very, very important. Here's the thing. We all know that USC and UCLA has been great, but football, move them over to the Big Ten. Carmelo says, I don't find it funny. They've always had the talent. Their conference just got disintegrated because of football. I knew they were going to dominate. Talking about the Pac-12. I mean, the Pac-12 has been really, really great, right? Remember, it was Stanford that has always dominated, and then Colorado was up and coming. We saw UCLA and USC getting their stuff together. The Pac-12 was extremely good last year. Extremely good. In my opinion, the number 2 conference in the country last year for women's basketball. But, football changes some stuff, and teams got to move around. And now we got the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, and they have completely taken over. Now, guys, I have to go. I got to go to church, so I will see y'all later. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. We got some big games coming up. I will probably do a live for this Texas versus South Carolina game. So yeah, I'll probably do that. So stay tuned to the channel. And if you happen to be in South Carolina, you can watch the game for as low as $42. That's not that much. So get on out there if you are in the area. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Have a good day. Go to church. If y'all haven't gone there already, go to church. And I will see y'all soon. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.